going? It's Grant with the Garden of Eater.
And Shelby.
And today we're going to talk about sending shrimp into space. It's not clickbait. It's actually a project that we've been trying to do now for over a year. We were first contacted last year. At first, I thought it was a scam. Someone trying to get a bunch of free shrimp. Had to do a little research, looked into it, found this whole Polish company that does rocket space experiments and stuff like that. And they were in the process of tracking down some Neocaridina shrimp so that way they could send them up into space. There's an event held in New Mexico where companies from all over the world, they get grant money, competition prize money, and stuff like that. That helps them fund their project. So they their project is to send bees and Neocaridina shrimp up into space in a rocket, bring them back down, and wake the bees, the shrimp back up, and just make sure that their method and everything like that works out, and more importantly, that the shrimp reproductive organs can withstand the initial thrust and everything like that goes through, and then also there is a couple things that they have to do to the shrimp, and that itself can kill the shrimp. So first go into more detail though. I think the company last year asked for about 30 shrimp. We sent the shrimp out. Day one, they had issues with engine failure. The second day, they had issues with weather. The third day, I don't think they were supposed to be launching. They tried to get permits and stuff like that. It just didn't go through. So sadly, they were unsuccessful of sending the shrimp up in the rocket. However, they were able to. Are you looking that up?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know all the details and stuff like that, but they have sent us like specs and a bunch of different pictures and videos and stuff like that. That was kind of like the agreement for me sending them a bunch of shrimp. Last year we sent them 30 pretty nice green jades, but the demand of green jades and the very low supply of shrimp that we have in the house. This year we sent them green jade coals. So not the nicest of shrimp, but still it's in the genes that matters, right? So what they do is they take the shrimp and they basically put the shrimp to sleep using clove oil. Now clove oil is like one of those popular euthanation products that you can use to like put fish and rodents and reptiles and stuff like that to sleep, so that way in case there's something wrong with them that was untreatable, you're putting them out of their misery, doing the humane thing, right? Well, they're actually able to flush the clove oil out of the shrimp system and wake the shrimp back up. So basically there's going to be two parts to this process. I ship the shrimp to the team. The team is going to send the shrimp up in the rocket. They're going to put the shrimp to sleep, wake the shrimp back up after the rocket launch and everything like that. And then they're going to send the shrimp back to me. And then that is where it's my job to breed the shrimp out and actually make sure that everything checks in place, the reproductive organs, etc. So that way we can possibly send them up on a larger mission. So there's like a lot of different things that could take place in space without an atmosphere and stuff like that, when keeping fish, aquatics, even shrimp and stuff like that. You got an answer for him?
No. So the picture that we used for the cover photo, the purple rocket in the center is actually the one that they're using. I don't know if they're going to be using the same one because it's a hybrid. But I mean, those people are probably about 6 feet tall. So you could only imagine it's probably 12, 13 feet, I believe, because it's about twice the height of everyone standing in this picture. So there is no like dimensions, but I'll try to get that for like when we actually do a video about this and have some cool footage of the event. So hoping that it all runs really smooth and we have a little bit more information on some of it. We've been so busy that it's just throwing things together here and there. I mean, we've got several videos like half filmed to post YouTube videos, so we got to get cracking on getting those finished now that we're not traveling. We hope to plan to do that. So, but anyways, keep going.
So for the shrimp, they really have two purposes. One of them is for pollination. Yes, bees are the known pollinators for flowers and stuff like that above water, but with certain algae and biofilms and other things like that, the shrimp are actually pollinators underwater. When you think about, the cross pollination and cross contamination of different algae, Cladophora and stuff like that, the shrimp are always grabbing and eating on little things. And then some of the stuff must make it through their stomachs and digest and then transfer out the other side and be able to reproduce afterwards, similar to like seeds and stuff like that are transmitted on the terrestrial level. So they need the shrimp in order to do successful hydroponics and grow a large enough food source to sustain a colony and whatnot, either on an international space station or the moon or a different planet. Of course, this is way further on down the line, but the other reason is the Neocaridina shrimp are like good basic miniature models of the larger food prawns that they would also try and develop and send up into outer space. Obviously, we don't really care for any of those. I mean, we don't mind them, but it's we don't have any tanks, and we're not currently breeding any of the larger prawn or food shrimps. So the Neocaridinas would be a great little mini demo. And also at the smaller scale that they're at, it would cost a lot more to do the larger prawns than it would the Neocaridina. So I don't know, like a one third scale, and I think it's like $10,000 to send up a pound into space or something like that. So it's definitely going to save them a lot of money to save this or to try this out on Neocaridina. But it does have two purposes, and they are also doing it with the bees as well. I don't know what species of bee they're using or anything like that. We're just really working with them on the shrimp side, but it is kind of cool to be at like the base of this project. And it's only 7 minutes in, and I really don't have anything else to say about this. And it's the whole topic for like the entire
stream's over.
entire night tonight. But is that all the questions about everything going
So
forward?
far.
Oh, I do have a little bit more I could talk about. One of the issues would be like on Mars with a zero atmosphere. There's like the boiling point is higher or lower, I'm sorry, than it is here on Earth, but the freezing point is also higher. So like it's a very fine line of temperatures that you can actually keep the water at, or else you end up with frozen shrimpsicles, or you just end up with boiled shrimp stew or gumbo or something like. Oh man, I fumbled the bag there, but basically there's a lot of different issues once you get further down the line. But we shipped the shrimp out. The shrimp were supposed to make it here today, or not here, but there today. But the holiday, the celebration of the end of slavery on Juneteenth, the 19th of June, the banks I think are closed today, as well as the post office. So the shrimp will be delivered tomorrow, and the actual rockets, the first attempts will be made on Wednesday. So we should have more information on whether it's successful or what happened or anything like that come Wednesday night. And then we'll keep you guys updated next Monday on exactly what all happened, and then
Yeah, hopefully
I
the
might even
weather's
have
good
the
for 'em.
shrimp back in my hands by next Monday's live stream.
Yep, and we hope to bring when we get them back. We are hoping to be able to breed them in order to make sure that they are able to be bred after all the stressors and stuff, and make sure and watch them closely that there's nothing causing issues and things like that. So we'll have to closely videotape them and watch their progress, and we'll keep trying. I mean, that's all we can do. You got to hope for a better future, and if there's a future on different sources, that'd be cool.
But also, they're doing Neocaridina instead of like Caridina or Pseudoesse because you don't need the active substrate or anything like that to buffer the parameters. So it's like really the less stuff you need. It's going to be super hard for them to do water changes up in space. So they're going to have like some super strong and powerful water filtration system. But it's definitely doable. And if anyone's going to do it, it's probably going to be Elon. So it's really cool to see someone like that in your current time moving and progressing through the world. And maybe it'd be cool one day I send shrimp to Elon. You never know.
Oh,
Trade
already
him
got
for
a
a
little
car.
letter going out in the mail here. These are worth about a Tesla. Passing Wood said, "You've become scientists. I expect you both to have a white lab coat for the next stream." Oh man, that'd be so funny. We should do that every time we talk like genetics or something. Like we should both have coats on. And just be, like,
every
bring,
time
like, some
somebody
weird
asks her a
slide
question,
up.
I'd be like, all right, hold on. I grab the coat on, put the coat on. All right, now we could talk about it. And I'll sit up all straight and no slouching or anything like that. And we'll do it all professional. We got to get a better camera and stuff like that.
Yeah, city life is not the life. That's for sure. The amount of trash that cities.
I definitely
I guess it's just
appreciate
humans.
visiting the city once in a while. We were in Charlotte for the expo last weekend, and it's just all the food at walking around without having to get in your car, and just all the little events and stuff like that possibly could happen. B-Wizzle was able to take the train to the expo. Like, how cool is that? Like, getting on a train with a bunch of like aquatics and bags of fish, and then like some homeless guy coming up and asking for $1, and you're like, dude, I got fish. You got an aquarium with the right parameters, and the guy's like, no, I can't help you out then, man. Sorry.
Passing Winston, have you ever tried feeding shrimp baked sweet potato?
So we're really lame, and I really haven't fed anything like out of a can or cooked or just about anything other than zucchini. That's about as I don't know, crazy as we've gotten with our foods that are not commercialized just for shrimp. So I think that the sweet potato thing where you grow it out of the tank is like not a bad idea. But adding in sweet baked potato, I think there's a lot of starch and maybe a lot of sugar that might not be good for the shrimp. I'm not sure.
Not maybe the shrimp, more maybe the tank alone.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cause some issues. I threw a baked potato at the back wall one day to show the kids, and some of it got into one of the ponds, and it definitely
marked it up.
Yeah, so not
I
really
don't think a
something you're
baked
going to want
one.
to
Maybe no, not boiled. Lightly boiled. Actually, probably raw. I would say that you cut it up into small, little, tiny pieces and feed a raw piece, but you'd have to rinse it really well first.
You open the door back up again.
What door? Oh, the raw potatoes. Stop. Maybe the shrimp will like it too.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm going to prove you wrong. Now we're going to have to do it.
I don't know.
Now we got more work for ourselves.
Careful keeper. Drop a piece of potato in a tank and any piece of shrimp food. I bet you the shrimp food wins.
Craig said, Grant, got my red wines, keep getting eggs, but then I only find a few this time. They're loaded with eggs. Hopefully I'll get more this time. He said, I'm doing something wrong. I think it's not having an RO unit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you don't have an RO unit with GH only minerals, and then on top of that, the aqua soil to buffer the pH lower, you're not going to get very high successful rate with the water parameters. One of the other things we did this weekend was I spoke at the Lancaster Aquarium Society, and they definitely got it drilled that the baby survival rate definitely depends on having RO water and the GH only minerals with the aqua soil. Otherwise, you're not really going to have babies. You can have your shrimp not really thriving if the babies aren't in there, but living, producing eggs and stuff like that. But let's be honest, they're probably struggling a little bit when it comes time to molt and stuff like that, with the pH being a little higher than usual. So it's also possible the first time that they had eggs, they dropped the eggs and they were unsuccessful. But without the RO water, I don't think you're going to have success with the red wines. That's one that you really need to have the RO water for.
They seem to just take longer. I think any Caridina seem today just take so much longer to produce in a tank without RO water. So it's just usually more recommended if you're looking to breed, do it the right way. Speaking of frogs, I was literally looking around because I thought something was wrong in the house. It's just some weird, annoying frog outside. But it says, very much enjoyed your talk on Saturday at the ACLC meeting. So,
well, has Alishon been in the?
Not that I have seen yet.
If Alishon comes up, you make sure you pull him up, because I'm not even like to the boring stuff yet, and Alishon was sleeping on me, and I'm like, oh man, I thought Chuck Davis was bad. Like, this is a tough crowd. Like, I thought Alishon was at least a fan. Seeing him around and in the chats and stuff like that. But
there's something just about your monotone voice that puts people to sleep. I stayed awake this time. I was learning something.
I've got Alishon, and then just catty corner of him, another guy like in the middle of the row, like wide eye, taking notes and writing everything down. So I'm like, gonna ignore Alishon and just focus on that guy. And then, like Shelby said, there was another lady that was taking pictures of our slides and stuff like that. So
really good job.
I definitely need to get the talk a little bit shorter in length, but I think what Shelby had the timing on was I think the talk was an hour perfectly, and then question and answers went on for that extra 15 minutes. I think it was a good hour, but I think maybe I might change up the talk a little bit, but I don't have time to revise that before we do the. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe I'll test it out in South Florida, and if it's any good, then I'll do it in Missouri. But that's the talk I've been doing for like 6 years now.
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of it. I'm just kidding. He changes it a little bit.
Do you know what a Michelin is?
We need to update the slides. So is a crystal shrimp mixed with a Taiwan? No, I got that wrong. Or did I? You're throwing me off. Why did you have to do this? I'm gonna wait. Now you need to read this. All
right. Can you get black neos off of blues? So yeah, if you're getting black neos off of blues, chances are you have blue diamonds. Blue dreams can possibly throw some black coloration to them, but chances are you've got blue diamonds if yours are throwing blacks.
That's right.
Yeah, but it looks like a crystal shrimp. You just left out that little tiny. Yeah.
Okay.
So
you made me question my whole existence.
No, you changed it up before I could even say it's right or wrong. So then I was like, "Oh, you're gonna change it? You might be right."
So Nana says sweet potatoes leaves are edible, so maybe those. We'll have to try those too.
See, here's
my idea is I do want to do a whole video on foods that you could buy at the store for shrimp, because not everyone has a pet store that's actually close to them. So I thought that would be a good little video for everyone always asking us whether we feed green beans. I mean, I have plenty of tanks to test. I'm just going to make sure that they're most expensive tanks in the house, like Grant's Boas.
And there's just so many readily available foods that are, able to be fed that I never really bother with the prepared ones. Pretty much if it doesn't have copper and it's meant for an aquarium, it'll go in a shrimp tank and be food.
Craig says, I've been using Rain, and I have all minerals.
And do you have the right substrate?
And he said he'd been buying it ASCV. Benjamin Peters, coming in with questions, says, are the snowballs Neocaridina davidi, I still can't say it, or palmata? Sorry for the spelling, because this has been one thing we've discussed on the same thing, whether snowballs are in the different class. But
so we had this discussion at dinner with Crypt Keeper after my talk this weekend, or maybe it was after the talk and just during the auction. But the snowballs are palmata, if I'm correct. Now here's my problem. I might know a lot about shrimp, but it's because I wanted to make something new. So I had to know what genetics lined up with what colors and stuff like that to be able to make something new. So it's something I actually cared about, and that's why I'm able to remember it. I just don't care about this whole palmata davii thing to put enough effort into it to figure out which one's which or what body parts of shrimp and stuff like that. However, the palmata should be the snowballs and the blue jelly or whatever, but it's I think almost all of them are hybridized. I don't think any of them are pure anymore. I just think it's I don't know why it matters to you. If you would express that to me, then maybe I could care enough about it to talk to Alex and do a video on it or something like that. But I think they can cross just fine, no problems, because if a blue jelly and a blue velvet are the same thing, I know blue jelly crosses with everything davii, or Davidii, or I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's how much I don't care about it. So it's a $3 shrimp.
Yeah.
Tops 10.
I think the people are trying to understand whether it's because sometimes some people have said online that there's no way for snowballs to cross with other species of Neocaridina. But I believe that is untrue, and I believe that snowballs still can interbreed and still make wild. There's a whole thing about how the snowballs are actually blue something, they're a tinted blue shrimp, and it's just a lot of misinformation. I don't think anyone actually knows unless we were to find the source from the wild and do a actual experiment from the wild to actually know, because anything in the hobby has probably been mixed in another tank somehow,
and then you need DNA testing after that, because just knowing what we know about the Caridina shrimp, you can have so many of the same exact looking shrimp, but the genetics can be totally scrambled from one shrimp to another. So, it's definitely a topic that has been on the discussion. I'm just curious, Benjamin, Crypt Keeper, why do you guys care? What's the interest in it?
I'm interested. Some people just like to know. With just like Killi's fish, there's certain Killi's fish that are just different species, but can still interbreed. But if you could have two different Neocaridina in a tank and not have them interbreed, that would be pretty cool.
I think they interbreed because we have two tanks outside. One of them, I think, I was just really tired one night with Mark, and we just get these ideas, and I'm like, let me just throw this shrimp in there.
Can't let Mark come back anymore.
There's fishing ponds. He keeps me up until 3:00 in the morning, and then I'm like, these are great ideas, Mark. Just keep hitting me with them. And we have come up and done a lot of great things. There is mountain cloud minnows out the wazoo, and it's just because of me and Mark throwing things around in the backyard. But there's also things that I can't explain. Did something cross with the snowballs in that pond? Or what's going on, because there's light blue kind of wild type looking shrimp, and then there's definitely some wilds, there's some reds, there's some other colored shrimp that we've been pulling out of that pond, and it's definitely got to be from across. What's in there? What was the original? I definitely didn't throw more than one shrimp. Even if I drank, I wouldn't even be going through there and be like, half a bottle of whiskey deep and going, yeah, let's throw multiple shrimp in there so those could breed. And it would have been one and done. So unless a frog regurgitated something and it mass produced in there, I don't think that happened either. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that they can crossbreed with one another, no problem. So if that's the answer you're going for, well,
You're supposed to finish your sentence, okay? Sorry, you were supposed to read the
were
comments.
you the one taking the
Fuck.
pictures?
No. We were sitting right in front of you, or the people we were
Oh.
talking to. It was great meeting you, and I'm so excited about those fish.
Sitting right in front of you. I thought,
You
wow,
put
I was
those in a
doing
pond,
the
right?
talk. The fish are in the. I saw it.
Excuse
just
us,
for-
we drove 16 hours. We
Yeah,
rode here at 4 a.m.
The first thing I do is I go outside and I check on the pool, make sure there's still water in the pool because we have all the turtles and koi fish, and the system can possibly leak and dump out a lot of water, but not all of the water. The koi fish will never be that's the point, right? So, and then I put them in. We've got Mississippi Hippies guppies, and then I've got the Dane's guppy Endler thingies,
Okay,
and then
good.
there was nothing in there except for some rice fish babies that I threw, so I threw them in there. So,
Awesome.
that-
So
they're
I'm
good.
excited for those crown tail. They are
Yes.
a beautiful orange, which you just don't see in this area. The only time you ever see crown tails, they're like usually half dead at Petco.
I was upset
It's
when
not
you
dead.
went outside with the kids. They were playing helicopter with the seeds. Not upset about that, but they did have a second bag go up, and the second bag only went for like $5. And I was like, "Do we
Aw.
need more? I don't know. Do I
Always.
buy them?" I was like,
She said she's coming to the Keystone Clash. Got to support the T-shirt because we were just there.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, this is the shirt color you said we didn't have.
No, you have it. I don't have it.
I know,
That's what
Scotty.
it
I'm
is.
very upset about not being able to enter for the
Yeah, we didn't get a
aquascaping
chance to talk
contest.
about this.
So, and I can't get my 2 different color T-shirts. That was so cool. But
Shel-
anyways,
Shelby or myself gets first dibs if somebody doesn't show up for the contest, or somebody just happens to get COVID or gets hurt like right before the contest.
sound like threatening people.
Scuba Steve, you gonna be there, right? I need some light work handled for me, my man.
Scotty says, I'm pretty sure he's referring to Alishon. Says he always passing out during talks. Don't take it personal. I
So
thought-
he's your club's Chuck Davis. Is that what it is?
I was laughing at this comment earlier because I thought you were talking about me passing out during talks. And don't take it personal. I have fallen asleep on someone's talk, and it was really bad. But they turned off all the lights. That's what I told Grant. Once you turn off all the lights, it's really hard for some of the older people to stay awake. Your eyes can't focus on a bright screen like that. So if you never want someone to miss it, you're gonna turn off all the lights where the projector are, but keep a light on in the back, and it helps with the older people. I'm getting up there in age. Already having it happen when all the lights go off. I'm like, oh, all right, it's nap time. I mean, we were bred, school. They turn off the lights and make you take nap time during the day. So that's what everyone does. They're like, oh, it's just school.
I didn't take naps in school at all until my senior year, and then I was professional. I had mastered it. Everybody else would get in trouble for sleeping in class, not me. I made it look like I was reading. That was great.
Oh, cool. Nano said, I heard Grant was going to present for the Gold Coast Aquarium Society next month. Is the whole family going?
Yes. So I want
You
to.
bet.
So we definitely need to book a day ahead of time and go early instead of later, so we can make it home for our live stream and be nice and wildly for that. Because I'm making it a point now that Sam Scales, he was also here since our last live stream. He showed up right before we had left for Pennsylvania, and we had done some more bass fishing. Didn't catch a monster. It wasn't that big. It was still Sam Scale size, but it was definitely a good learning experience for myself. I haven't done any fishing since I was a wee little lad. 12, 13, and then after that it was just all sports, and any fishing I was doing was spear fishing, and that's not really fishing, or dip netting. So Definitely needed to learn some little tips and tricks, but I think with Sam's advice and whatnot, my trip to South Florida with the family, I think everybody's going to get a decent sized peacock bass.
Mhm.
I'm hoping to get a couple snakeheads and a knife fish as well. And then I'm hoping to get the kids on like a bunch of Mayan cichlids. Like that would be just great. I think they would just have Jaden himself, like just some of the Mayans with the big horns. He's gonna think he's catching flower horns. That kid's gonna have the time of his life. So, yeah, we're bringing the whole family. It would be really nice, Jay, if you and your wife would like to join us maybe one night for dinner after the talk with Richard Reynolds, and of course my buddy Mark will be down there and joining us as well. So. The more the merrier. Anybody that's in the club that comes to the meeting wants to go afterwards, go out to eat. Shelby's favorite ramen shop was down there, but it was horrible last time. So we need somewhere else. So if you can recommend something in the area that is to die for, I'm going to leave it up to you to pick where to go. So
I'm gonna have time to do one of my TikToks.
there was something right down the road from the expo that I saw when we left. And I was like, oh my God, it's like dim sum or something like that we make sure we're going to get when we do the expo this year.
Alashon says, at least I asked some questions.
Yes. You made up for that. So I was like, he is interested, but man, you fell asleep like during the crystals. And at least people usually wait till the tidies.
Scotty says, I think the length was perfect. Don't change it. It was perfect. Come up with an additional talk Clash needs to.
Well, listen, Scotty, I didn't want to bring this up on the live stream, but you asked us to do a talk. And me and Shelby prepared a talk. We have it. It's called The Powerhouse. It talks about running all of these tanks and everything that goes behind it and all the work that Shelby does. Mm-hmm. And then you didn't ask us after you asked us. And then the announcements were made, and it's not us. So I was like, all right, I might be given a liver, but I'm not going to the Clash this year. And then, it ended up I'm not giving a liver. So, and we're going to vend. But, you need a talk. I was giving you exclusive first rights to the talk. And, maybe one of the other clubs gets that now.
Craig says, I'll drive 10 hours to see this pair. They're so nice.
If only. He's in Australia. If only there was a bridge.
Oh, yeah. Well, how far is it? Like flight? Like 24 hours?
I don't know how much a direct flight would be, but like my total my total flight to Hawaii was 24 hours. So.
I guess South Florida ripped off the name from Australia. Probably. Richard said, Shelby and Grant, who is the speaker for July at your club?
So we have Joel and
Antoinette. I don't know how.
I'm horrible with last names, but Joel is actually from Scotty's club. We did a speaker. It's Ann Kawasaki. I can't even pronounce it. I'm horrible at. But he is Mr. Killies on email, so that's what I'm going to refer to him when I introduce him. And he's doing Achilles Fish Talk, but he and myself, we did a speaker exchange program. So I spoke at his club this month. He's speaking at our club, but I made sure that it was while we were here so Shelby could see his talk. And I'm looking forward to it. But if you want to kill two birds with one stone and bring us up some green emeralds, and then also let me know what other fish you have available, I'm ready for you. And I have your salts that you pre-ordered many moons ago.
I forgot about those already.
I honestly didn't think they were going to be here this soon.
Craig
so
says,
when they got here that fast, I was like, wow.
Says, Belinda will. I don't drive. That's funny. Alashon says, I've napped through Doc Lozelle's talk, so you're in good company.
I don't know who that is. Somebody, if I'm out of the loop on that one, and I should be in the loop, let me know, because I do need a little better speaker list prepared for next year, because I pulled out like a lot of the big guns for this year, so I need some good ones for next year.
Scotty said I talked about you guys in my live stream.
I think we were still sleeping or trying to like walk it off today. We
I pop in, but I usually leave really fast in a lot of them because I'm doing something.
We arrived home last night at 4:55 in the morning. Got unpacked, wind down, fell asleep, woke up, got the kids some food, and then went back to sleep. Didn't get anybody's packages out today, but it was a holiday, so even if we did wake up and try to do it, it would have been wasted. So I'm very, very happy that.
Well,
all right,
we're
so
super far behind in chat. So
the stratum. Have you tested pH? And if you have, do me a favor. And also, Craig, please reach out to me tomorrow if you need to after you've done this. But test the pH in the morning when you turn on the lights, and then test the pH at nighttime right before you turn off the lights, and see if there's any fluctuation. That's one thing that we have not tried yet. We did test the pH on the fluval stratum, but it was random. I don't even think it was like at a certain set point in the day. I do think it was before a live stream though, so it was later on in the day. But say if there's a 0.4 pH swing there, that is going to do a toll on some of the babies. So
Benjamin Peters says, "Will all Neos cross?"
I believe so. I don't think there's any Neocaridina out there that won't cross with one another. Everything else is like a Babalti, Caridina, Paracaridina, or something like that. That's not going to cross with the Neos.
Welcome in, Rob.
We do have a new member. Who's the new member?
Look how you saw that before me.
It's been a minute too. It's Craig.
Craig, yeah, welcome. I thought you were already a member. Maybe just renewed it.
Yep. So I did.
Thank you.
Did you like my idea today for the 1 year members? No.
No.
All right. So
we're still on that.
We're still in negotiation for that. We'll come up.
We're
with
trying to make it a good gift. The one gift we made was not good enough.
No.
But it is going to be discussed and needs to be figured out before the end of this week. But I lost my spot now.
Oh, no worries. So besides doing the talk, getting to have dinner with Crypt Keeper, we also went to the aquarium that Scotty works at, and I was thinking that Scotty had like a department in the aquarium, and I thought to Shelby that it was one of the saltwater tanks because there's not a lot of fresh water in there. And there was like one area where I was like, I bet you this is Scotty's area because it was cleaner and nicer than the rest. And then he's like, no, safety and security, head of safety and security. And I was like, oh man, I can't even say anything like it was unsafe or anything like that. Even when you go on the shark bridge, the guy at the beginning was like telling every single individual group all the rules, like, you know, don't jump or run or do anything like that. So I was like, man, I mean, I couldn't even rat on anybody to get them in trouble. So you're definitely on top of your job there at the aquarium. We were just at the shed not that long ago. But, you know, still the aquarium was a nice cherry on top for the drop. I mean, I did say the Amish was a nice cherry on top, but like at the end of it all, and I don't really like cherries, so the aquarium was better than a cherry on top. So it made the long drive worth it. And you definitely got to put them sea turtles on a diet. Them things are huge.
They're obese. Their heads are so little, and their like bodies are just gigantic.
And at first, I thought there was just one. And then all of a sudden, there's a fat hunker in front of us. And then there's one in the background going, I'm here too. They're like going as fast as you could, but going nowhere fast
those
at
turtles.
all.
You got to find out.
But as like lacking in the freshwater department, I think that was the coolest shark experience that we've ever had. With the kids and stuff like that, your tunnel, the sharks were
the bridge
more interactive and stuff like that, and the kids really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun. We haven't taken the kids to the Atlanta, Georgia aquarium, but those are whale sharks. Those aren't real whales, right? Or real sharks.
See, Matt, I literally only heard once from you. Went to go sign up, saw the post on Facebook that it was already booked by the time I'm literally saw the post that it was filled up before it was posted that it was open.
And for Shelby, in Shelby's defense, though, even if she did know, we didn't know if we were going to be able to make it there because I was possibly giving a lobe of my liver to my uncle, and we weren't signing up for anything that wasn't set in stone. It would have put me out of being able to travel for 6 months, and that would have just overlapped just slightly with the Keystone Clash. So it filled up way too fast. So somebody falls out, somebody gets COVID, something like that. Shelby, jump in there. You guys don't want the smoke. That's why you bought all the spots.
I'm very far down on the waiting list. Apparently, there's other people. You guys got to get bigger sponsorships. You got so many people that want to enter, and we don't even have to keep the tanks. We pay money to enter, and I mean it's a win-win situation for the sponsorship and the people. Said, Oinky said, "Hope you're feeling better." Yes, I am. Much better. We all three of us, me and the kids, were struggling for some time. It was just like an upper respiratory infection. As a first-time shrimp mom, I've noticed that after molting, my blue dreams falling on their sides, I thought they were deceased. Is this normal behavior? Not if they're. Did they get back up? I mean, usually when they molt, they'll fall, and they'll molt out of their. And if they get up and they're fine, then it's no problem. But if they're doing after their molt and laying on their side, that means they're a little bit struggling. And that's where you'll find a lot of times you'll see other shrimp trying to eat them because then they're nice and soft. And now they're also weak. So they might have a lack of minerals. If you're not feeding minerals, that might be a problem because then it might be a problem where they might not start molting too.
I think that's also where protein comes into play because once they have molted, they also need enough strength to hold themselves up and to get out of the molt. So like what Shelby mentioned, I think it matters how long they spend on their sides. If they're just on their sides, twitch out of the shell, that's completely normal, happens all the time. But if they're laying there and they're not really moving and you can just see some antenna play or some slight leg movement, increase the oxygen in the water. Even doing a water change with good mineral content in the water will help those shrimp survive through those molts. So really, to know more, we need to know how long is the shrimp on its side, if it's normal behavior, if there's something wrong in the water.
Right, Jordan.
This frog is going nuts tonight. I am sorry. I might get up and go see if I can't chase him off into another pond.
Jordan said, "How has your experience with Vivi been so far? Pros and cons. Not much to be weighing on right now. So no, either way. Just haven't had enough experience. I don't like to say." I mean, the pros are it's pretty easy to set up. They're pretty good at working with you to figure it out. But
here's our little dab into Vivi. Our website's almost sold out. There's not a lot of options. I've been contacted just this week for wholesale, and I told the person no, I don't think we're going to have anything, and their response was wow, we can't get it nowhere. So the shrimp hobby is on the incline. I don't even think that the Caridina right now is on the decline. Right before COVID and after COVID, I didn't think the Caridina would be an even viable source of income at this point. So YouTube has definitely helped turn that around. Definitely being able to coach people through and getting them over that hump and getting their first Caridina tank, and then you end up with somebody like Keeper who's got 15 tanks and already 6 set up for this year or something like that. So There's like just not enough stock that I can go, oh, here, Vivi, take all of this. And then, oh, by the way, let's try and beat everyone's prices. So right now, I think our prices are more than fair on Vivi because I'm not trying to sell the cheapest product. We're trying to sell the best product. And I'm not willing to cut my prices to sell and meet a demand that I'm able to meet on our website. So I think everything on Vivi's marked up a little bit in price. Some of the plants are like the same price, but we've only sold 3 fish on Vivi. That's all we've sold. So I think once we build up our stock and inventory, maybe things will increase a little bit. But I like to keep things on our website more than selling on somebody else's. So it's great if you don't already have an outlet, but we do. And
Right.
we're not really trying to sell in other places. I'm more like doing Zach a favor because he works for Vivi, and Alex came and did all of the promotion and everything like that. And those are 2 people that we support within the hobby. So that's why we're doing Vivi. So
Yeah, especially if you don't know how to build a website or have the time, absolutely so much easier.
I will
So
say,
much takes all the work. I mean, but I worked so hard on that website for our own website for years that like just to like give everyone things on Vivi, you know, like it's what it is. I worked very hard on our website. We're gonna use that, and it's gonna be our main focus. But
here's my other little thing I wanted to throw in. They are great with customer service and handling things. On their end, they're trying to pay us, and they've flagged and bumped their emails to us 4 times to try and get our attention. And I finally messaged. I was like, hey, I'm not really concerned about the money for the 3 fish. It's more hassle right now for me to travel and try and fill out this W-2 and get this to you than I'm worried about being paid for 3 fish. So I'll get to you when I get to you. But like, they're obviously there for the people who would need that communication and get that money and stuff like that. You want me to go? I'll move him into a different household. It's saying it in the chat.
Thought it was a car alarm.
It's
Man,
that loud. I know. I hear it like
We
watching
plan
the
on-
streams on the replays
Yeah.
when I go to answer somebody's questions.
We plan on bringing the kids down there for sure to get some Mayans, Richard. So the membership videos are not working right now. I do not have them on this computer no more. I deleted them to start new ones and to have less annoying ones. I guess that there was issues with like the volume and they just didn't flow very well. So I'm just gonna make them a little bit better and more pleasant for some people and not take up too much of the time too. Craig said, Shelby and Grant, do the kids help run the shrimp tanks? My kids run like the wind when I pull a hose out. So they normally, Grant does most of the water changes. They'll help when we ask them to. We don't really force them to do anything. But not that they don't want to. They've offered. Jaden will occasionally watch the water being filled in a tank and then yell to Grant when he's trying to do another task or something to make sure it doesn't overfill or anything. So they don't mind at all. They actually do like to help outside a lot too when we do the turtles or koi fish or things like that or ponds. They're always like, "Can we come help?" So they're pretty good on that.
Right.
And they also feed the newts and the axolotl, which are the yucky blood worms. So couldn't find it.
No, I don't know if I fixed the problem or not, but I couldn't find the frog, and I was walking around checking
It's in
things.
the hot tub.
Stepped on it.
No.
Then jumped in the pool. I didn't step on it. Like I just got its foot, and it was like, hey, and then made it into the pool. So
back to the space shrimp for just a second, though. Grant did not realize we were sending them out, so he needed some help. And that specific frog was in my ear while we were catching the shrimp. And I'm like, can you shut up? And I think the thing got louder because I said something. And it just went off. And I'm just like, oh, no, come on. It is late. And then it starts to rain. And I'm like, Grant, I'll catch the last few. Let me just do it. It's about to pour. And sure enough, it poured. And when you get the rain at night here, it drops the temperature by like 10 degrees. So you go from like nice, hot, and humid to like you're freezing now. That was awful, but caught some really cool shrimp.
We caught the space shrimp out of the hot tub.
Yeah. Oh man.
They went from
Yeah.
chilling to cruising.
Yeah.
Why are you
man.
drooling, dude? What is outside? He just had the biggest like glob of drool. Look at that. Why?
You're
You were
cleaning that
well
up.
fed. He got the pizza scraps from the kids.
I will
Layla
get
doesn't
Grant
eat her
ice cream.
crust.
He'll be okay. So if there is
Listen.
a spot that opens up, I will get the aquascaping, and you just get ice cream. You'll be okay.
I do need to say
I
something.
know that was something completely different.
I do need to say something though, Scotty. Do not send anybody to that restaurant that me and Crypt Keeper went
Oh
to.
man, what was it called?
The Smorgasbord. That's all I know. All right. So anything with Smorgasbord in the name is going to be highly,
Crip knows
highly
it. Crip will put it down.
unseasoned, and yeah, it wasn't good food. It was more expensive than Golden Corral with less flavor. Don't know how that's possible, but it was a 30-minute wait. They had some artisan ice cream, and I was like, sign me up. I'm definitely grabbing that, and I'm going to take that home with us. But on the way out, we did not feel well enough to buy ice cream. So,
Poor liver.
yeah, the dessert that they had there wasn't that good. The ice cream almost saved it because they did have some soft serve ice cream. I did have 2 nice big bowls of that, but I didn't get to try the artisan or the Amish ice cream in town. I was very upset. So I will have to come back and I don't know if the Keystone Clash was anywhere near that area or get some of that ice cream somehow one day.
Like
It's going
he
to haunt me
says,
until I do.
I wish I could have given the snakeheads that were dumped in my town lake. The whole lake has had to be eradicated because of the invasive snakeheads. The lake has now become a lifeless swamp mess. That is absolutely sad.
So
You hate when you just can't. It's just some people just can't have fish.
Mark actually has a friend who they take snakehead heads and turn them into swordfish or marlin lures for fishing. So he was getting like $50 a snakehead. So if I catch one, I'm definitely going to see if we can't get it turned into a lure. I think that's cool.
Dr. Anthony in the house, just to say, let's put some shrimp on the grill.
Have you forgiven me yet, Dr. Anthony? Every time I
No.
see you comment, I feel so bad. There's just so much guilt that flows over me for not shipping out your bags before we went to Aquashella. I just feel so bad.
I've heard about Doc Lizelle. Someone mentioned it, but Alishon said that ask Chuck about Doc Lizelle. He gave Doc a job back in the day in Jersey City Sewer Authority. Is that why there's so many alligators in the house? Oh.
But yeah, I feel bad, Doc. Don't put me on the blacklist at the
Nancy said new
Research
emeralds
Center.
are looking great. One mosaic is looking good. Other 2 hanging in there. Thank you for quality stock and great service.
All right, I was worried about the mosaic. I don't know how they stick in shipping and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. Do you have them outside and in high light? But
I don't know why I was thinking mosaic guppies. I'm like, where do we have mosaic
I did.
guppies
I
for
sent
sale
her
yet?
an extra mosaic just in case, but 2 out of 3 is not the result I was looking for. 1 out of 3. But I'm happy the emeralds are working out.
Yes. Oh, we are so far behind trying to like read faster.
I'd rather be behind and have stuff to talk about than 7 minutes into the.
Yeah, Dee Dee says escaping. They should have let more people sign up and then have a drawing. It happened way too fast. Yeah.
Snooze, you lose, but
Oh.
you know what?
Nano's going to be in the Aquascape contest. Says if you're in the Aquascape contest for the Keystone Clash, watch your backs. Well, good luck. I'm rooting for you, Nano.
I
I don't know
like,
who else is. You're the first person I know besides Kenny.
I like to judge the contest. I've never judged an aquascape contest, so
You're a harsh
if
judge.
we could be a part of it some way at all. I've also had a couple people ask if I would coach them. I've been actually offered quite.
Don't take coaching lessons from them.
No. I meant like right behind them, just to stand behind them and tell them what to do in the
Awesome.
aquascape.
Yes, you're a mean person. You're not gonna be You'd be like, that looks terrible. You
Ah,
can't sugarcoat it.
ah,
Tube Dog said,
just get rid of it. Yeah.
how long would you keep a sponge filter in a well-established mountain filter tank before adding to new tank and then adding shrimp?
All right, so I wouldn't worry about the Matin filter at all unless it got clogged up and slowed down in flow. Other than that, adding new shrimp or adding in, what do you mean? Before adding to new
To a new tank. So he's got a filter that's already being cycled, ready to go. Taking it out, putting it in the new tank. How long till I add the shrimp?
I would just wait 30 days. I'm not too worried about the filter being established. I'm more worried about the biofilm being established in the tank. Biofilm should be 60% of the diet for the food, or for the shrimp's food source. So you're only having to feed them every now and then rather than feeding them constantly. If you're feeding them constantly, then yeah, that cycled filter is going to come in handy. But it's asking for a crash. It's asking to be, overwhelmed with organics in the water column, and you're going to end up losing shrimp. So cycle the tank for 30 days to build up the biofilm for the food source, not so much the filter.
That frog has just been like the most. It's just one of them out there, and we have hundreds of frogs. Shady Grady says, sorry, Shelby, separate conversation. I really loved all your escapes and tanks you posted this weekend. You have such an amazing imagination. Thank you. I really appreciate that. The Aquatic Expo one was so exciting to me because it was only 2 hours and it was a dry aquascape contest, so I didn't have to fill it with water. So I don't have to worry about the extra stress level on that on top of the plants, which are also hard to provide for aquascaping contests, and to provide good ones that will actually make the tank look good and like proportionate. Like a lot of the things like dwarf hairgrass comes in like this long when it's grown immersed, so it's just not realistic.
Same with the micro sword.
But I actually enjoyed it so much I was able to take my time. I know 2 hours seems like fast, but it was a lot. I did my creator scape in only an hour, so I was like, I have a little bit longer than that, so I know I could just do a dry scape in an appropriate time. So I enjoyed it. I was a little like down on myself because I felt like I didn't fill the tank enough, but then because it's hard to like really envision a tank without the plants, and like I'm in my head, I'm like, I would have filled this up with so many plants too, and then the other tank was my dad's Father's Day gift, and he had been talking about how he wanted a tank for just like bubbles and just for like a little fun, and I was like instantly knew exactly what I wanted to do, because we're from the Keys, and I was like, oh, I'll make a Keys themed tank for him, and like I just kind of put a little slice of everything from our lives. Like there's glass rock in there that's actually from Oklahoma, where my grandmother and my dad are originally from. And then the shell is from Melbourne Beach, where we go. It's cute little. And then I got that cool bubble wand in the back. Like I was laughing because I'm like, Dad, I'm going to aquascape a tank for you. And I'm going to put a bubble wand in an aquascape. It's going to blow my mind because you just don't see the two together, but I've always wanted to do it. So I was like, this is perfect for me. I was so excited. But it's
time.
Oh, our computer needs to be fixed here. So sorry for the wait, but it is time.
How's it going, man? Long time no see.
Yeah. How was the drive back home?
The drive back home was good. I did most of the driving like usual. No, I'm just kidding. No, Shelby did the majority of the driving this time for sure. I think because it was Father's Day, she was like, I'll let him relax. And I kept the kids entertained most of the trip. So,
Yeah, okay. Good. So I posted up the question about 5 minutes ago. You can
I'll
find
take
it.
try.
five,
I know
5 minutes for Shelby to find. It's right there.
Okay.
So I know you guys are not the biggest advocate for importing shrimp, but do you guys have any advice to prevent some of the issues that you could see while importing them?
So absolutely. One of the good things that we I wouldn't say like good things, but we had a great opportunity when I first sold my landscape business. I was in the air on whether I should import or whether or not we should just try and keep it homebred and everything, our own. And right after our first international shrimp contest, we were approached by another company uh, that was holding their shrimp in California and then reshipping to their customers, but the main headquarters and everything was in Taiwan. So they were an import business that did the transit and everything on their end. But in their facility, they ran their soil for 2 years, and every 2 years they needed to switch out. So they needed somebody to deal with their customers and ship out. And I had just so happened to cycle 20 aquariums all set up, freshly ready to go. And they approached me asking if I would ship out to their customers for them. So I basically got the full rundown on everything that you would need to know on how to import. And basically, after it's all said and done, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. I'd much rather just breed and do my own thing. But I definitely have some tips and tricks that I learned along the way. Tip number one is pristine water quality is going to be a must. So having to do 90% water change on the aquarium the day before you get your import is a must. You're definitely going to want to do that. Then having everything set up and ready to go for your import to come in, all your acclimation stations, drip lines, everything like that. So that way, as soon as you get home, you can open bags, remove the dead shrimp as fast as possible if there is any. There is, certain things like tiger shrimp will have way more deads. Sulu SA will have like 50% of the bag will be usually DOA. Where Caridina, you get a lot less. Neocaridina can be everything in between. So right when you get them into the tanks. And then for Neocaridina, the product that we use is Paragard. It's a Seachem product. And we dosed the tanks with that. Anything that had the Scutellilia, the little horn parasite things growing on the nose, or the ELO, the green fungus bacteria underneath, that would take care of them. However, anything that was visible with the green fungus, just remove it out of the tank, get rid of it right away. It's almost, you're never going to be able to get rid of that or save the shrimp. And it's a lot of hassle, and the chances of it infecting the other shrimp in that tank at the same time are through the roof. It's like COVID. Anything within a 6-foot radius, and it's in a tank. So how are you going to avoid that? So but a lot of this has to do with water clarity. If one shrimp is going to get it, it really depends on its immune system. Its immune system is going to be a lot healthier if the water's clean. If the water's dirty, its immune system's not going to be working in its prime. So clean water is your friend. You're going to want to check for dead shrimp every 4 hours. If there's any dead shrimp, remove them immediately. And then besides that, I don't think there's any other real tips or tricks. Everything's about the same with homebred shrimp. Just you really got to be on top of your numbers and keeping the water a lot cleaner with imports.
Okay, that's super helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and the only other thing is like when you get 10, 20 shrimp into a new tank, you could feed them, after a week. You don't have to worry about feeding them right away. with imports, they're probably going to start eating the biofilm right away, and it's going to be gone before you know it. If you stock, a 20-gallon tank with a couple hundred shrimp, that biofilm is going to be gone. Then they're going to start eating the shrimp that just molted, the younger ones and stuff like that. So you're definitely going to have to supplement food in there a lot quicker.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Thanks.
No problem, man. And thanks for joining us out at dinner, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. See you guys later.
See you, man.
Bye.
We also got to talk a little bit about import. Oh, I did. Shelby had to work the booth, but she got to see me up in the little box section of the expo talking with Benny Tay. So I'll probably let you guys know and share that link in the comments when that video's out. But he's a breeder from Singapore, and they also have the issue with the importers driving the Neocardinas in as fast as possible. And then those parasites and stuff like that are passed on to the customers. But if Crypt Keeper were to do it and dose the tanks with Paragard and make sure nothing was infected before shipping it out, that's definitely a better source to get your imports from or through. Anything else? Is it about the frog?
No. I think
Okay.
Passing when meant to put dry scape, but it came out dry skin. Shelby, your dry skin was amazing. I was really impressed.
That's what you need to bring up on here, though.
I know, it's at the bottom. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to miss these people's questions. Malcolm, I got distracted. Malcolm said, can shrimp develop internal worms?
So I don't think they can develop them, but I do think that the planaria and stuff like that can, get in internal and stuff like that. Just be careful, because if you're taking a really good photo of the shrimp, there's like some organs and mouth parts in the shrimp that look like two worms are moving inside the shrimp. When I first got into shrimp keeping, I also thought those were internal worms. However, it's not. And I know when I'm taking a good photo that if I can see those worm-looking organs of the shrimp, that the photo's in good focus. So they're not actually internal worms, is what I think you're thinking.
Yeah, when it developed, the only thing that would ever be planaria, but they're just eating them from the outside, not inside. I mean, they do eat the inside of them, but not from the inside.
And I'm sure there's little tiny bacteria that look like worms that are in them, but
Yeah,
if it's not planaria,
so
nothing's really to
tiny,
worry about.
we would never be able to see. But also, a lot of shrimp are translucent, so we would be able to see them in Neocaridina clearly, like in a yellow. If there was internal parasites or something, I think you'd still be able to see it because they are translucent.
Those
Then their stomach would swell.
those little squiggly things in your eyes, if you're looking at something white that you can see. Shrimp probably have their own version of little squiggly things in their eyes.
Oh, could you imagine how tiny
tinier.
those are? I wonder if we get a camera.
That's what I'm telling you.
Scotty said that they didn't send us there. We didn't go to the place he suggested, but I don't know what place you suggested.
No, you sent us to the place next door, and it had to have been the same. It was the same food. Just one was a buffet and one served the food from the buffet. Guaranteed. It had to have been the same thing.
Oh, and he said, thank you for answering my molting questions earlier. They chill on their side for about 10 minutes. I've had these unexpected shrimp for only a week, trying to learn/observe as much as I can.
10 minutes is a little long, but it's not that bad. I would check your water parameters a little bit, and then I don't know how much oxygen you have cranked in the tank or how much flow you have on the surface or plants you have growing in the tank, but all of those things can contribute to oxygen, which can help the shrimp in any molting issues. But again, 10 minutes isn't the worst, but it's also not the best.
Sultan said, will Boost and Anubis be able to grow on Dragonstone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
Shelby's
guess
got
I'm
a
really cool. Yeah.
tank right there that has Dragonstone growing on it, or Boost growing on the Dragonstone,
Love it.
and then on the on the above tank, we have Anubis growing on Dragonstone,
Yep.
so it's definitely doable. We've got proof in the pudding.
Mm-hmm. Nancy says, I do have them in a tub outside, mosaics in the full sun. Planted them in a terracotta pot. I still have hope for the after other two. They are just a little yellow and not looking good as a third.
And you do have them planted in the soil, the roots fully buried in there. You can use a little Osmocote fertilizer to help boost them. That's the only fertilizer we use for our little pond plants outside.
This is a great point that Craig said, that Dragonstone is great for plenty of spots to put the plants in without glue.
Yeah.
Most of my plants that I tried to plant in an aquarium, I don't like using glue because usually you can see it, especially if it tries to float up or anything. But I don't use it. You just shove them in the little holes and they do really well, especially Boost. Really like
I
it.
prefer the wedge method myself.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of the plants will grow naturally. Manatee or something upstream eats a bunch of the plants, something gets broken off, it just floats its way down the stream until it gets caught or snagged on something, and then that's its new home, and then it'll either flourish or get eaten by a manatee.
So someone did ask earlier, I couldn't find the comment again, about us if we breed fish. We do fish as well. So I do have a couple Achilles fish and Gadeids that I have been unintentionally breeding. And we'll be breeding eventually once we get the new fish room set up. But it's taken some time for that. But we do have rice fish and white cloud mountain minnows that will be available on the website here soon. The rice fish might take a little bit longer to get on the website, but the mountain cloud minnows need to go up there. This guy's got 3 full ponds of them. That one of them was supposed to be my pond. And he's like, no.
We'll buy you a new pond.
Gigantic
I take this pond.
pond.
I buy you a new pond.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy. But the
Or-
rice fish are ready to go, actually. I just need to move them into a tank and
tiny.
take pictures.
Okay.
No. There's some big ones.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a
the
reason
second
why
tank,
I put some of them in the pond that are already with the crown tail guppies.
But speaking about outside tubs, Zoltan asks, what's the best way to control algae in an outside tub?
So I've got 3 contributing factors to algae that are going to be responsible for outside. One is going to be overfeeding. So if you're overfeeding, you're going to get some algae issues. Reduce the amount of food. Chances are there's a lot of bugs and other things that are falling into your ponds that the fish or shrimp are eating that you don't need to feed them as much as you're thinking about. Number 2 is going to be water quality. If you're having algae, of course, increasing the amount of water you water change or decreasing the time in between water changes is going to help. The third thing is going to be the sunlight. And that, of course, you put some shade cloth, put some shaded trees or something like that. Reduce the amount of direct sun that the pond's getting is going to help. Is it the frog?
That thing is really
I'll go back.
upsetting
I'll
me.
try it
I
again.
don't understand.
Entertain
what
the people.
It's just one of them. Oh, goodness. We used to have a dog that would eat the frogs outside.
And her
Pearl.
breath would smell like a fish market.
Yeah, she was adorable, though. She just liked snacking on them. So now we have a really bad problem with frogs. And although we love frogs, there is an invasive that has taken over our backyard. So it's not something that we want to contribute to, is continue with these invasive species to Florida. We want to take care of those. Kyle G said, thanks for coming to Lancaster and giving a talk. Great to see everyone. I will tell Grant that in a second. His talks are really good. He's got a couple different talks too. I've always been really critiquing Grant's talks throughout the years. We went to the club and the first time he talked and I was like, man, you said a lot of ums. And I would, every time I tell him something different and he got better and got better. Me, I don't like being critiqued. And I also made a fool of myself my first talk. I probably said more ums than he's ever said in all 40 of his talks. I have a lot more respect for him after I did my talk. I was, man, you've done a really good job. So he does a really good job. It's really entertaining. And it's very, he didn't do as much jokes as he normally does at that talk. There's usually a lot more jokes about the sequence of events of trying to get different tanks into the house, but it's still pretty good. And we needed to update pictures. Those were some really old pictures. I mean, as you could tell, we didn't even have the rack behind us, and that goes all the way up to the ceiling. We didn't have a single turtle in the talk. We have like, let's see, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 turtles and counting. So, and not a single one was in the talk. But thank you so much, Passing Wind. It was funny because Lucas told me about, I came up to him. It was late after they had already done their judging on the aquascaping. And he walked through the hotel room and I was like, hey, what's up? And he was like, congratulations, by the way. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, oh, nothing. He's like, oh, nothing. And I was like, well, and he's like, you don't know? And I'm like, well, I mean,
I know now.
I was like, I know that I'm in the top 3 because the top 3 were able to take your tanks home. So I was informed that I was going to be able to take my tanks home. But I did not know that I had won, which I was not confident in winning either.
It's my fault, though.
And it hurt my feelings. But he was like, Lucas was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know which one's yours. And Lucas guessed the wrong one. And then I had told him which one it was. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, then I feel better. Because, like, I kind of thought it was yours. And I was like, well, maybe I'll do it. Give a half a point to that phone's done for. But it was so funny. And he was like, I thought maybe it was yours. I'm like, that wasn't even close. But I didn't even see his video. I didn't see that he did a walkthrough. I'm gonna have to watch that now. But thank you, I appreciate it. It was so much fun, and so many people did so good. Like for the materials we were giving for that, the wood selection is like a big thing for aquascaping, and especially a lot of people can't do structure. Like I struggle with structure and like filling up a tank with structure. I could do like good small structure, but not a big one. Like Grant's way better at structure than I am. And, but so like the wood is a big factor, and there was only like 20 pieces of wood and there was like 20 contestants. So like for what we had for supplies, people did a really good job. Like I enjoyed a lot of them, but it was a hard thing to judge on like what could have been if they had a little bit more. And then, they had to take those into account, and then like what we did with what we had. So they did a really good job judging, and I had some really good competition. There was some really cool tanks, and if you haven't seen that, like you gotta check that out.
Shelby's like, oh, you'll know what tank's mine. So I go over there, and it looked like somebody was working on the tank that Shelby was. And not only that, but all I could see was the stick in the air. And I'm like, that doesn't look like Shelby took 2 hours to do that. And then I had 3 other tanks narrowed down that it possibly could be hers. And then as I'm about to walk away, somebody walks up to one of the tanks and start working on it. And I was like, well, that was the tank I actually really thought Shelby was the one that did. And then so I had it narrowed down to 2 other ones. And Shelby's like, nope, neither one were those. And I was like, well, then was it the first one that I just didn't even look at? And I didn't think it was like, and she's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, well, I need to go back and look at it.
He hurt my feelings. I told him to go away.
I went back and looked at it, and I was like, all right, I didn't see all the Dragonstone before. All I saw was this weak stick in the air. And I was like, there's no way.
Stick. It was a
Shelby,
stick.
because there was people who just threw as much stuff in the tank as they could, so that way it looked like crap and the bid wouldn't be that high. So
it was actually pretty funny. I gotta find that person's YouTube. I gotta find that video.
But at the same time, at first glance, I was like, nah, Shelby didn't do that.
Craig asked, do you guys have cane toads in America? They're so ugly and yucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got them here too.
We have it's not a cane toad back there, but we have a giant toad.
No, that's a cane toad.
Is it?
Yeah.
That thing is huge.
Or a buffalo toad.
We
got
this
both.
big, man. That thing's. It would be bigger than a little dog.
That's a bullfrog.
The bullfrog. Okay, yeah. Okay, that wasn't a toad at all. That thing's ugly. Scares the crap out of me when I go in the backyard because it sounds like someone threw something like a huge rock into your pool. Like that's how big it is when it hits the
And I don't
thing.
know where he is. I think he's in the pool, and every time I go out there, he just ducks underneath.
Christy says the frog keeps triggering me because a fire truck went down our street earlier, and it's the same sound the engines make while sitting out there. It is.
It makes
it's
such a different
bad.
noise in person than it does online because
We gotta
I
figure out the
listen to
mic.
it when somebody asks me like what was a question at this timestamp, and I'm like, oh man, it's a frog.
Oh, you know what actually might work? It's the new mic set we just got to plug into this mic and use them. But I don't know how
No,
much
I
better.
think there's a setting
not
on
as
this
good
mic
quality,
that
though.
we can get rid of the frog.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out because this is gonna be one long summer of the frogs.
Yeah.
What kind of frog is it? Craig said they aren't native, but can be parts of Texas and along the Gulf Coast, from what I recall from school. The
So it's either a Cuban tree
invasive-
frog or a cane
Sorry.
frog. Cane
I was
toad.
talking about the invasive
Oh.
when you were gone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Cuban tree frogs. The cane toad, I think, is also invasive. So it's one of those.
Yeah. So Fishy Palmer says, I think they're invasive species. Grant says wedge method. Shelby says cram in little holes. Which do you think we like better? Big, ugly, super toxic to dogs and people. Lovely. Yeah, I like frogs, but like dart frogs in a tank, you know? And ones that don't touch me. You know what's really funny is I absolutely love animals, but for some reason my body doesn't. So like anything crawly or jumpy, and if it like I can admire my frogs, feed them all I want. There's no way I could touch a frog and hold it though, because my body has a reflex to like just throw things that feel weird. So I just never have ever picked up like my frog. And it was questionable to pick up my leopard geckos. It's bad. I'm too scared that I'm gonna throw it by accident because I can't control it. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it says cane toads. It says it will kill the dogs with one lick. Don't let the dogs get near. Actually, a cane toad. I hope it's not. I don't think there's any. I don't think our dogs would even like. That frog would probably be way gone. Our dogs are huge. They'd be scared of that.
No, we definitely have.
Yeah.
Our frogs don't mess with them. Our dogs don't mess with the frogs. Or toads, luckily.
Yeah.
We had one that would just eat the tree frogs. I turned
Craig
the light
says
on.
Shelby went. Oh, did it disturb it a little bit?
Yeah.
No, see, I shined a light on it the other night and it did nothing. It just got louder. Craig said Shelby, we went to the middle of Australia. I was in a car park at. I'm not going to pronounce that. I was standing in the dark. Bell lit the car park up with the car lights. Next thing I looked down, there was hundreds of toads, all standing on their back legs. I was scared the crap out of me. I would be very uncomfortable. I tell people this story all the time, though. I grew up in the Keys, and during one of the hurricanes, we had to travel up because it was flooding our house, so it was time to leave. So we're leaving, and we're going right out of the Keys, and there's one road and then a bridge, and it's pouring down, and all the crabs come up out of the water and go to land when it rains. So my dad convinced me that it rained crabs. So I thought for years that like sometimes in the Keys it rained crabs because of how many would come out, hundreds, and you could hear them clacking on the ground. Oh, it was so disturbing. So it was cool though, but disturbing. Passing with it. If you ever see a movie, Pan's Labyrinth, they have a toad in it that is the size of a small car. No, thank you. That would be terrible.
Somebody was trying to give us a Pac-Man frog at the expo last weekend. I was like,
Were they
no, thank
really?
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the family we went.
Oh,
They also That's why Mark has the tarantula. I don't know if they got it for free or if they made like impulse buys, and then by the time they left the show, they're like, "Yeah, we don't need this." I don't know which one it was.
Richard said the Cuban tree frogs eat our smaller native frogs in the Southwest. Same here.
Yeah, no, they're a huge nuisance. They're a big problem. They have not been as bad. The one I saw out there was like the largest adult that I think I've seen yet. Besides that, it seems to like be mostly juveniles that somehow managed to survive. But the population has definitely gone down because of that cold spout we got this year. Cold spell, not spout.
Crip says, when did these get added to the website? We just added the Sulu SC. It is just warm enough for those to get back up there. Wish we had the other ones available, but
I think we should talk about the website just a little bit right now. There's more than just those on the website, Crypt Keeper. If you look, there's actually some red tigers with blue bodies. I think we put some crystal shrimp marked down to $3 a piece, black crystals, which is like unheard of for just the fact that we have them in stock and then on sale. The sale is because of the moving sale we're doing. We're back. The RO unit is running for like the first time in like 2 weeks to actually have prepped water for me to do water changes in a long time. I've got quite some time before our next trip. Our next trip is to South Florida, not nearly as much of an adventure as, say, the Keystone Clash is going to be or anything like that. So getting caught up on all the water changes is priority number one. However, some of the tanks that need water changes need to be moved onto the new rack system in Jaden's room. So we'll be killing two birds with one stone. But before we move all of the aquariums, a lot of the shrimp are marked down in price. So just off the top of my head, we have the crystal black shrimp. We have some fancy red tigers, fancy black tigers, green tigers, galaxy pintos, and ghost bees, and cheetahs, raccoons. And then not only are they marked down in price, but like say the raccoons, once we move those tanks, I'll be taking those off of the website for like at least a month or two. It might be even longer because we need to wait for those shrimp to start breeding again in those tanks before we make them available. So it just so happens that all of our raccoon tanks are on these metal racks that will be moved. So that is one shrimp that will be off of the website temporarily until the move is all settled and the shrimp have had time to rebound. So on top of that, today is the final day for the buy 10 get 3 free for the Father's Day. We were gone for this weekend for the trip, so we started that sale off a little bit early, but today is the final day, and after that the moving sale, shrimp and everything like that will be going back to normal. And it just so happens that a lot of shrimp are low in stock, so but the Sulu SA shrimp, those are available. And then if you order those and you would like those to be shipped out overnight shipping, we can make that arrangement as well. It just costs a little bit extra, around $30 on average. Did I miss anything?
nothing else. Passing one says, I grew up in Miami and went through Hurricane Andrew. There were animals everywhere after that. Yeah, it's crazy how many animals come out after hurricanes. That was the year before I was born. Hurricane George was when I was like 5 and flooded my entire house. And we wait till like the last minute. And I was playing down at the end of the road and watched the water come up over the end of the canal and ran back. Water followed me all the way to the house, and I was piddling through the house, a little jacket on, playing in the water, and I'm like thinking it's like the best time ever. My whole house is just getting flooded with water, and it's like a pool to me as a kid. And my parents were like panicking and packing everything to get out. And the worst thing is the one-way street getting out, and everyone in the Keys waits till last minute to leave because like it's expensive to like uproot your family, drive 2 hours to 4 hours north and try to wait out a storm when you could just maybe make it. But once your house starts flooding, you need to get out of there. But yeah, hurricanes are crazy in Florida, and no one really leaves. They try to hunker down. But in Keys, there's only one road out of there. It's not fun trying to get out.
And I don't know if something happened while we were gone, but it seems like there was a ton of rain while we were gone. Like our pool got like a foot of rain added. And I'm just happy I drained down a lot of the ponds before we left, so nothing over flooded. You know, lose no rice fish.
Dee Dee said, when I was a kid, someone told me frogs came for rain. And people just love to mess with kids. I got to do that to one of the kids in the neighborhood. So when they're old enough, they'll be like, yeah, like this lady on my street used to tell me that it rained frogs in just her backyard. And that's why she had all the frogs.
We're already
It's
the
so
crazy
funny.
shrimp people with all the aquariums on the street.
Oh, man.
You know, need to be telling the kids all of these myths and legends too on top of it.
I want to be one of those older ladies that walk into the store and just confuse everyone that's in there. Passing when there's a raccoon shrimp. Yes, the trash pandas of the tank. Of course, you gotta have them. They're my favorite. I actually have a TikTok of them. How awesome they are. They are like the most active shrimp. They are crazy breeders. I mean, they populate a tank so fast.
My shirt just turned into a V-neck. I don't know how.
What is wrong with you? Oh. Jordan says, thank you guys for all the input. Get your toes out of here.
No,
My sales
feel the toes.
my sales have been few and far between locally, mostly due to lack of initiative and dealing with health issues, and have been looking to start shipping.
So when we
I'm so
first
sorry, guys.
start, and it's you, it's not even me.
No, look at the table.
I know, but
I'm
you're
trying
the
to
one that
keep it.
keeps
I
touching
know.
it.
Trying to keep it
I'm
straight.
behaving tonight, all right? So anyways, when we first got in the hobby and started like dealing and selling shrimp, I 100% thought that like my biggest sales were going to be to the pet stores. And the pet store right next to our house, that's a local mom and pop store, they wanted to buy 5 shrimp off of us, one of each color that we had available. They set up a tank on the counter as a display tank to gain interest for them. And like, I just wanted to let them know, it's like anybody that's actually interested in these and wants to get these going, they're going to want 5 to 10 of them of the same color. Like, this isn't going to, so it was never really a venture that we were able to make work. But I do realize like our local pet stores are like the trash pandas of the rest of the industry for other states. Like just going to Texas, going to the fish gallery, and then I saw a bunch of other posts of other fish stores like the Aquarium Group Design and stuff like that's down there. They're just at a different caliber. So there's of course like different markets for different fish stores that it might be selling a lot more shrimp already on inventory on hand that they can, use more shrimp to meet their demand. But for us locally, our sales for us are few and far between. I'll get a random person maybe once a month that wants to come by and buy shrimp locally off of us. I think they're more interested in like coming by to see the house, and we just don't give that option unless it's somebody that I've met several times at one of the fish show meetings and talked to online and gotten, a good grasp of the person and who they are. Like Vibes, we had Vibes come to the house, but chances are if we've never had a conversation and you're messaging me and you want to buy shrimp off of us, I'm meeting you at a Petco down the road. And that might happen once a month. We do have some really great customers out of that we've met. They now go to meetings and stuff like that really got into the hobby. But, local sales are few and far between. Once we start selling to the local clubs and stuff like that, one person gets their hands on a good line of same water parameters, the lines are going to take off. So chances are when somebody's like, oh, did you bring shrimp to the auction? I won these blues or something like that. I'm like, no, But, Greg got them. Chances are Greg got them off of me. So, you get your good lines into the club. The club has really good shrimp. It gets more people in the hobby and stuff like that. But the bulk of our sales is online.
How do you guys get the Sulu SA minerals to dissolve in RO? Have heard the CO2 is needed to dissolve it.
I think we have a video on our YouTube on the Sulu SA shrimp. I'm not positive anymore because I've wanted to do so many videos that I don't know if I did like a TikTok or a short or something like that. But basically, we just let it run for a whole day in a barrel with a good pump on it, and it makes milk. Once you have your milk, you just do your water changes with the milk, and then your tank is milk for a day, and it usually starts to clear up, and then maybe you have like this like light dusting of powdered milk throughout your tank from the leftover minerals, but with a good snail population and letting the tank just run for a day or two, it usually just clears itself out.
And it's under this video, stocking the Sulu SA tanks with shrimp and snails. I think we talk about mixing it all. And you show a video of you mixing it.
There's so much hassle with dissolving it with the CO2 or warmer water and stuff like that. It's not worth it. And I don't see any issues with just sending it with the milk. Don't use legit milk, you know what I mean? But if it's looking like a white mess, it doesn't affect the shrimp at all. And we've been very successful using the 8.5 Sulu SA shrimp with that method for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years now. So we've got 4 different kinds going really well with that method.
Passing said my parents got a turtle egg from the store and put it in with my sister when she was a little girl. And when it hatched, she thought she made a turtle. That's too good. Scotty said,
I'm impressed that your sister didn't crush the turtle egg.
All right. Says your kids are so well behaved. Thank you so much, Scotty.
See, Scotty, I'm happy. I'm happy you said that. Now you can vouch for the other clubs, because when we first went to the Greater Pittsburgh Club, they're like, "So you're gonna leave your kids at the hotel room, right?" Like, that was
and the kids, like, it was bad.
Well, somebody had to bring the kids.
I mean,
we weren't just gonna be that bad of parents and leave our young kids in a hotel by themselves. Your Shelby's, of course, going to bring them, right? And I'll do the talk. And I'm like, no, my kids were literally raised in an aquarium club. Shout out Thelma. There's this little old lady. She's 93, 94 years old. Maybe only 92. But you wouldn't know she's in her 90s. But she was in the circus, being a performer. When somebody speaks for the Tampa Bay Aquarium Society, she demands that you give her all, or not her, but the speaker, all of your attention and well-deserved respect, and you're polite during their talk. And there's no age discrimination with that lady. If you're 2 years old, you better behave, child, and not misbehave for your parents, And, she is a little bit of the reason why our kids are so well behaved during fish club meetings. But Shelby's a really good mom, and our kids don't have to, push it back or anything like that, and we get it done. So
getting on said, if I want to order shrimp, do I enter the 10 for? Yeah, so for the sale, you just buy 10. And we automatically include. There's no code or anything. It's just what we do for our sales. We just automatically include them.
Usually we throw in 1 or 2 extras, but when we run the sale, any orders that are 10 or more, if it's 20, we're throwing in 6+ shrimp. If it's 30, we're throwing in 9, and etc.
Yeah. Just to make that a little easier. So Jaden was, I think he was only like a year old when we went to our first club meeting. And then Layla I waited for a little bit because Layla, bringing around so many people, you have to be careful with babies. So I believe she was the first time 6 months. Yeah. And obviously children have a capacity. They can't always sit still. They can't always be quiet. And you have to teach them. So I just know better, and I respect people and their talk, and I don't let my baby sit there and scream. So a lot of times what you do when they're getting a little fussy, you get up, you walk with them. Like if they're too loud for inside, then you go outside with them. And then you sit there and you kind of get them to calm down, and then you go back in. So it was never, it's just a lot of people don't understand these days because like some people just don't have respect for other people. I've noticed that a lot with people. People parent different, and like obviously no one's perfect at parenting, but you do have to respect people. And then I want my children to understand that they need to respect people and that it's not always time for play. There is time for play when there's time for play. So I would take them and I would reward them for, being good. You would get, they get what they wanted. They get their ice cream after the talk if they were good. So you reward for well behavior, for respect. And just like you tell an adult. And we're good
parents. Right. We will eat the ice cream in front of them if they misbehave.
Stop. But, it's the biggest saying is that respect is not given, it's earned. And I want, the kids to understand that like they're not going to be respected if they don't earn their respect by respecting other people.
And they know I can eat 2 ice creams, no problem.
And of course, I didn't want to miss the meeting. So I was going to, make sure the kids were well behaved enough to go. And I never really had an issue. Like, once or twice Jaden would get a little rambunctious. So I'd take him outside and I'd make him run laps. And he enjoyed it. I'd be like, do 20 laps and see how fast. And I'd time him and like giving him something. Children are children. They're going to want to run. You can't expect them to sit down for a full hour. And, but they're so used to the clubs now that they know that they've got like an hour and a half. They have to be still, they have to be quiet, and then they're ready. They get some ice cream afterwards. And
it also helps that both of us were in theater growing up, and we know how important it is to show respect to the presenter, to show respect to other people in the crowd. Somebody wants to hear that person talk one way or another. So
right. And it's just,
there's other people, though, that don't get that, and they don't care what their kids are doing during the talk, and it does upset me at Pasco Club.
Yeah.
So I've learned at our Pasco Club meeting that if the kids were too rambunctious the last meeting, that I'll go, hey, kids, I heard that the tips get a little higher if you guys are quiet during the talk, and our club does this large auction after every meeting. Scotty, I think, had like 120 registered at one point, so there's definitely more than 120 bags at the meeting that we were at. But our club gets 400 to 600, and that's every meeting that we have a speaker. Our annual auction does like 1,600 bags or something like that. It's definitely over 1,000. So we definitely got to move through it as fast as possible. And I definitely would have had the kids help out with your auction, but you make it a little bit more dependent on the runners to fill out the sheet, where we have like a system where the person auctions it off, the sheet's filled out at the same time by somebody else, and then both the sheet and the bag go to the runner, and then the runner can be a 3-year-old kid. As long as you point them in the right direction, the person goes from an auctioneer number, and then the backside is a little fish. So the kid just goes to the fish and gives them the bag, and everything works out really nice and easy.
It's definitely efficient. Just some kids just don't have manners because they weren't grown up to understand manners. They think it's just playtime, you know, that it's fun. And
there's
like
a lot
during
of kids
the talk,
there. Sometimes it's the only time that the kids see other kids.
I know, but it's just still, it's what. They'll be arguing when or talking when the presenter is speaking, but also not to mention, we also had to have our children at these shows. We were 2-man people. I didn't really have anyone to babysit the kids like I do now. My dad was 8-hour drive south from us. So there was no possibility. So we had to go to Aquatic Experience, and I had to watch 2 children at a booth while trying to sell things. So my kids just learn that this is what mommy and daddy do. That's my cup.
Sorry. It's crazy that you can drive 8 hours and still be in Florida and not even be in northern Florida and do that. We're in central Florida. We can drive 8 hours and still be in Florida.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then Oh man, I had something else I wanted to say. I totally slipped my mind.
I already forgot.
There's something to do with Scotty and the club and the
Richard.
auctions. Oh, and our club will throw in tips. They kind of encourage the
Yeah.
kids to get a little bit money. If the same kid is running the same, group of bags to you 5-6 times, throw the kid a couple dollars. Then that kid could use it to buy its own tank, their own fish, or something like that. Or like our kids will use it to buy a little ice cream afterwards.
Abstract. So how many times did that lady yell at you, Grant?
What lady?
And Velma.
Oh, Velma has only yelled at me a couple times. I have been shunned by Velma. Thelma, not Velma. I'm sorry.
Grant doesn't realize how loud he's talking
Yeah.
sometimes, so it's happened. And the Matt said, "I'm guessing you trained
I talk
Grant
a
in a
lot.
similar way." No. I have Velma for that.
You just called her Velma.
Yes, I've been saying yes, Velma. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been saying Velma too much because I've been making fun of myself because I have these glasses now
She's
and
been
I
losing
can't.
them non.
And I'm literally, I can't see without my glasses. And I literally grew up watching Scooby Doo. My room was painted Scooby Doo. I have like 100 Scooby Doo toys. Obsessed with Scooby Doo and mysteries. And for me to like joke because I wanted to grow up and be Daphne, but I'm more like Velma than anything. So it's just so funny. But Richard said, I've been around Grant and Shelby's kids. Great, respectful kids. Thank you. I appreciate that. They try.
They can be a little mean sometimes when they're roasting. Call
To
me an
each
old
other.
man, but
They are mean, but
they're quick on that.
oh man, they're so
It's all
funny.
good and
But
fun
it's
and games.
family
Yes.
mean. They're family mean. They wouldn't just be mean to other people. They have grown around, like they've had so many people to look up to. So like that's a big thing. It's not just us. It's our family. It's the people that we are in these fish clubs with. I mean, they see everyone else respect. Like we went to the Tampa Bay Club. They're very respectful, very quiet. So like to see everyone else be quiet, kids typically pick up on that same behavior. So that helped out a lot, actually. I'm very impressed on our children, and it wasn't just us. It takes everybody around you to actually, like, if you have people that are in your group that are bad and misbehave, your children might pick up on those same behaviors. So it just happens. So we just lucked out with the people that we have around us, and we are thankful for all the people that we have in the club and we've known over the years. And they've always taught them to, like, hey, you guys did really, they appreciate them. Like, you guys did really good today, and like would hand the kids candy sometimes. So like that goes so far with children and how they're raised. And just remember, as an adult you are now, just remember that when you see another kid and just praise them on something like that. And it goes so far.
And they get so upset when we get all dressed and nice and ready to go somewhere and we're not going to a fish club meeting. They're like, what do you mean we're not going to a fish club meeting? What are we doing? Like, no,
So
we have to do this too. Come on, let's go. But it's kind of cool to think that they've been to fish clubs from Florida to I almost said New York, but I meant Colorado. Not even close to one another, to Pennsylvania. So that's pretty cool. They get to travel a lot.
Yeah, they were so funny in the Colorado one too. They had people just laughing because they know about fish too. So, and you'd be surprised, like they know a lot of native fish. So it really blows people's minds when they're like listen and realize that our kids like know Elosoma and the Lee's Achilles fish
and
the
Gambusia, not
bluefin,
just a mosquito fish. Like
and
you might ask them
bluefin.
what a mosquito fish is, and I don't know if they're going to know the answer.
Yeah, they're not.
But you ask them what a Gambusia is, they'll be able to tell you which one out of the net, out of a good scoop down here in Florida, which one is which. So, but
Scotty said 265, and that was high for us for a normal monthly meeting.
And I just want to say, like, Crypt Keeper and Laura and all the people that drive so far to come see and show the support, I really do like it. It's so worth it when I hear that the club got a good record attendance or auction or something like that. I like the fact that like when we go and scape tanks in Colorado or something like that, our scape tank almost sold as much as our expenses were for the club. So I definitely like to help out other clubs, build out, grow. They got a new member. I know Crypt Keeper joined the club. Did you get? Are you grabbing the bag?
No.
Grab the bag if you can. But we were at the Triple Crown, I think, and I saw Carrie walking with Carrie from Science Gal Aquatics, walking with one of these black insulated bags with an orange handle, and I'm like, not like you stole my bag, but like, oh, you take my bag, like you talk with Shelby, you needed it for something because we only needed it to transport like guppy grass to the Triple Crown or something, and I was done doing that already. So I was like, oh, you steal our bag. And I look closer, I'm like, oh, that's for a totally different county club. Like I thought our club was special by having these bags. So we got one from Scotty's club, and I think we're gonna start collecting the bags of everywhere we go because I've already gone through one of the bags at our Pasco club, so we use them quite often. I don't know why, but one of them started smelling like feet, so we retired that one. It was just like really old feet, like somebody put their socks in. Yeah, you're the one that pointed it out, and then I couldn't get the smell out of there, and I'm like, it just smells like feet. So
Look at that cute little Amish wagon and the little fishies. I had to have it.
So I don't know why. I'm just fascinated by the Amish and how many of them they're still there.
It's bad.
And I don't get the rules. Like I might look Amish, like I could blend in, and I look like one of the Amish people that should be like obeying the rules, but I'm just like, nah, I'm having my year where I'm free, but I'm like too old, like I'm just still doing it. And I'm like, I don't know. But like they were on scooters that weren't bikes but looked like bikes. They might as well have been bikes without the chain. Like, what are the rules? Why can they have that but they can't have a bicycle? Like, it seemed like so much more work. And then I looked at the price, and they're more money than a bike. And it's like, why? And then some of them have a firehouse with all this high technology for me to do a PowerPoint, and it's still considered an Amish firehouse. But like, is it an Amish firehouse at that point? I'm just baffled. I don't know what to do. And there's just so many of them everywhere still. Like they know. And then the kids, they look so sad. The kids look so sad. Like there was 3 teenagers and one guy and 2 girls, and all 3 of them looked like they were all just like mad that we had the car and they couldn't, and that they were still getting around. But like they could see the future, but they couldn't grasp it. Like it was so upsetting. And then the younger kids are even more upset. Yeah. Like they just look so sad in the carriages. And then I'm just like, see, kids, how lucky you have it. They can't even play with Xboxes. They probably don't even know the difference between a 360 or an Xbox One. Like, come on. Like, you got it so lucky.
Layla was over there talking about how she doesn't need to have a TV or a washing machine. She said she'd wash all her clothes by hand and hang them up. We watched. There was an Amish like house right near it, and Layla was just fascinated watching the house and everything, and she saw the clothes hanging on clothespins, and she's like me. Like I could probably want to enjoy the life without technology for a little bit, but I think she'd get sick of it for a little bit. But no, the kids look like they were from like, those old timey where they never smiled in pictures. That's what they look like. And I'm like, I don't understand, but it could have just been like a, long work day or something like that. They just look really sad.
So my employment issue is going to be solved in the future. If we have to hire out a family, I'm just going to go to a Walmart in an Amish town and find the teenagers that are about to be, have their year of freedom, and be like, hey, apprenticeship, come find the lucrative, side of shrimp breeding. And they're going to be the hardest workers, and they're just going to be on point. Because could you imagine?
Sometimes thoughts just need to not happen.
Could you imagine, though, Amish craftsmanship on a shrimp?
Shady Grady said, okay, I've been watching.
A shrimp rack built by an
stop?
Amish kid?
I've been watching your live stream 6 months now and never seen your stickers look like. Can you please show me? I can't wait for the tanks to finish cycling to place my order. So I went and grabbed. This is our YouTube members only sticker. It's a nice holographic. And then we have
I think it's safe to say if
These
you don't
ones.
have one of those, and you should have one of those, send us an updated email at thegardenofeater@gmail.com, and we will get you your membership sticker and your 10% off code to tgoeshrimp.com. But
yeah,
back
because some
to you,
people
Shelby.
didn't. Also, if you order from us, you gotta put it down in the notes because I'm not gonna always remember or put two and two together from YouTube 2 orders because there's just too many going out at the same time that I'm not gonna think about it. But I put it in the little notes. I write it down in the book to make sure. But I
Anybody
did-
that uses the code will also get it.
No, because I don't write that in the book either. I always forget.
Why? You should be.
Because someone else is giving codes out to other people too.
Well, they could get one
So.
too.
No. This is also a new mini sticker I made. It's a little DNA strand. These were supposed to be a lot bigger. So they're just little freebies that will be coming in the boxes too.
And then the keychain.
Those are for shows, but I guess we'll show
For
them on
members, if you're a member and you put an order through the website, though,
Yeah.
we are giving the keychain. That's why you got to
here.
be
It's so
checking.
tiny too.
It was supposed to be 2 inches big. It is 2 inches, the entire length of the keychain. Like, we got to read the fine print just a little finer next time.
Yeah, it's not that. I just ordered them too fast.
Yeah, we wanted to get something a little nice for the show to be able to hand out to all the people that show their support in person. Sorry. I
Laura
thought there
said
was
you
a
should
Java
see the
phone there.
Amish woodwork in my family room. You'll have
That's
to
what
see
I'm
that.
talking about. I think if
SC Cattle says Amish handcrafted aquarium furniture is a brilliant idea.
right, that's what I'm saying. I think we might be onto something. How are the shrimp? I gotta know. We need an update. Are they doing good? You having any issues? I gotta know, man. Fill me in.
Stop complaining about size. Hey guys, it's very cool. Thanks so very much. Yeah, and we'll be getting new membership stickers coming out here too. So
We couldn't make up our mind. Shelby thought glitter stickers were the way to go, but
So
anybody
they
that's
ruined
that into
it.
glitter, you know, they're probably into snails too. You know.
they would have been cool, but for some reason, I don't know if there's a miscommunication. They had them on sale through
Sticker mule.
yeah, Sticker Mule. So I put the order in for our original like logo with the like sparkles in the background for like our banner, and I was like, this will look really cool with blue glitter. And then they sent me back a proof, and it was our logo with a rainbow glitter around the border. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't get the concept here. That's not like a glitter sticker. That's glitter around my sticker, which I could have just done glue on our sticker and put glitter on it. Like realistically, it was just awful, and it looked really trashy. So I want to make sure they look at least cool enough to put on a tank and not look like someone just got it for their like 100 on their test score or something.
And then where are we with the new one? Have you been in communication with Harley's?
We
Fiance.
have not got to that point yet. I still
You got the
communication,
color
but
down
she's
though.
working
I'm
on it.
happy with the color.
Yes.
The color can be on point. We're moving. I like to take it slower this time rather than rush it and just have them on point and done and then be good for another year.
Right. So we are. Yeah. Are we
If
going
not
to talk
long,
about
yeah.
that? Are we
No.
bringing that up yet?
No,
Okay.
not bringing it up
So
yet.
that'll probably hopefully be by next stream. Talk about that, but I'm not rushing it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So.
No, there's quite a few things that I think we should take our time, but like before Keystone Clash, we'll have brand new business cards, and there will be a lot of different changes from the old ones to the new ones. So
Laura says blue bolts are now my favorite color, and I got red steel and ghost bees too. Nice.
you got
I hope
those
they do
ghost
well.
bees for a steal. I was trying to give those to Mike Esposito at the show the weekend beforehand, but
Have a good night, Johnny.
he had already gotten too many bags, so you got those for a really good deal.
Matt says use Sticky Brand for stickers. You can Google Sticky Brand coupon and great deals. Thank you, Mystery Snail Guardian.
So maybe I will check them out and compare their prices because Harley, who makes our
Is that the same
Breeder-
company he does?
no
Oh, okay.
breeder boxes, uses somebody out of China, and you're always kind of sketched out on doing something like from a company overseas in China unless you know somebody that's already done it. And because there's two things: one, it could take forever,
Yeah.
or two, the quality could just not match.
I guess I
what
did
you
worry
were
about my
expecting
bridesmaid's dress that didn't come for like 2 months
So-
for after, but that was because of COVID.
So Harley says he's made a couple orders. They're usually there between 7 and 9 days, and then on top of that, the quality is actually on point.
Nice.
So both of the things that I would be worried about are actually there. So we might use those before the next show. But like I said, if those don't work out, we need to find something else.
Yeah, I hate
I'll
the
look
new
into
ones.
them. But
there's nowhere to peel them.
it was like $5,000 for like 200 stickers. So for that, no, I'm sorry, the other way around.
$200 for
5,000 stickers for $200. So that sounds like a steal for the quality stickers that Harley was getting too. So, but I probably need you to message me the other one too.
Sticky brand. I'll just remember. Lost another one of Vin's. The rest are good. I have about 5 to 6 babies from Tank 90 shrimp. Oh wow, nice.
Very nice. I'm glad to hear it. It's kind of expected to lose a couple of those shrimp. They go through so much, just like the imports and stuff like that. But keeping them around, I'm relying on you to get those genes into the TGOE collection, man.
And Christy, no, that frog is still driving me absolutely bonkers. That's all I can hear right now.
I wouldn't kill it on live stream, anyways. So.
Oh, I just laughed so loud. I'm so sorry for everybody that had to deal with that. So sorry.
I just tried to make it so that way it wouldn't make any more noises. We turned the lights on
Still making
outside,
noise, though.
so I thought maybe it wouldn't have the guts to show itself and continue to make the noise. So
No, now it's got used to it. It's just, no, he kissed it and turned it into a prince.
I wish I had those abilities.
To hop or not to hop? That is the question.
To croak or not to croak? That's the
Things
question.
Obscenely bad.
But
We got a list of to-do things after today's stream with everybody's questions. So thank you. You're reminding us to get our butts into gear and get some stuff done. So hopefully next week we'll have a better stream and be a nice little.
we're on the downside of the hill finally of all of the shows. We had Aquashella, we had Aquafest, we had the North Carolina show, Aqua Expo, and the trip to Pennsylvania. So now we'll have a good little time where things will be a little bit back to normal. We'll catch up on projects, and most importantly, we'll be updating the website with a lot of plans coming up soon. So
Ben, I cannot bring myself to eat frog legs. Just can't. They just look gross. Can't do it. And Bazima says, if you put frogs on a catapult, is it then called a frogapult? I hope you're not using cats on a catapult.
I don't think my neighbors would be very happy with me.
Oh man, we'll just shoot them to the mean ones. Oh man. Living Dream Aquatic says, is a Neo tank in a Neo tank, can you put Amazon version 2 for plants under gravel, or would that lower the pH too much?
So you can use it as long as your KH is around 3 or 4. If you're and don't get me wrong, you can have 0 KH and still breed Neos in low pH water. It's just not what most people are trying to do. And if you're looking to keep things stable and consistent, if you start doing that, you'll have to do that, every single water change afterwards with, 0 KH and so on. So it'll definitely take them some time to transition back to low pH, but overseas they breed in Asia the Neocardinas in ponds with very low pH. So the low pH isn't going to be an issue. It's just keeping that pH nice and stable. So do either 3 or 4 GH always or 0 KH, and they'll be fine. I think we're gonna end it on that
Yeah.
note.
Oh, right when Eric came in. You made it to say goodnight. So Passing One says, make sure you get some sleep and rest. Yes, we need it badly. We're awful tonight, I think. But
I don't feel fatigued as bad as I thought I was going to.
no, but I think we're gonna crash hard and then we're gonna feel it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe. But hopefully we'll get a video out this week. One of them, we got a cool box waiting on our kitchen counter, so hopefully we can get that video out.
I'd like to wake up tomorrow. Oh yeah. I don't want to give any hints on that.
Yeah. It's
But
a box.
I'd like to wake up tomorrow and go to Bagels and Beyond. Get some good
Mm.
breakfast. So
Sounds like a plan.
have a good night, everybody.
Thank
See you next week.
Thank
and
you guys.
maybe before then if we get the video out in time.
Appreciate all of you. Have a good night.